What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So you guys asked for it. You wanted part 2 of some fall blues, and we've got another 7 for you. I could have just did 15 the first time, I guess. I wanted to really whittle it down to like the main 7 that I was interested in discussing, because I got plenty of blues that I like, guys. No secret. Blue fragrance guy. I'm the blue fragrance guy here on YouTube. Somebody else might say they are. It's me. So I got 7 more for you, and just as good, if not better, than the first 7, depending on your taste, really. We've got some good ones here. A few that you guys were kind of surprised weren't on the first round. We're going to be discussing this time. So stay tuned. Starting with the main one that people were surprised wasn't on the list. I mean, this made people ill. Like, there was guys that called off of work that day. They just couldn't make it through the day. They just could not believe TLTG Reviews did not feature this fragrance in a blue fragrance list for the fall. We're talking about Acqua Essenziale Blue from Salvatore Ferragamo. Guys, the love for this fragrance is not changing. Once in a while, I just want to switch it up and talk about something else. I love this fragrance. This is my favorite time of the year to wear this fragrance. In fact, that was a little half spritz the first time. We're going to rock it to the gym. And I was going to wear Intense Drapoise today, but just for those of you that were a little on the upset side about this one, we're going to wear this one today because it is that good. It's fresh, it's spicy, it's citric, it's powdery and aromatic, it's sweet, it's woodsy, there's a bit of an earthy tone, it's got the shower gel feel, it's got a lot of these elements going on. This is a slightly sweeter, more powdery blue. Honestly, one of the most interesting blue genre fragrances ever created. Hence why it's the most recommended fragrance in the over 5 years I've been making content on this channel. 3,000+ videos, like 3,400 videos or something total. And this is the one that's been recommended the absolute most, and for good reason. It performs great, it smells great, and it's affordable. 40 bucks or less will get you 100 ml. I think it's not that great for the high heat because it's sweet and powdery. Not super sweet, it's more powdery than sweet, so keep that in mind. But because of these elements that make it a little heavier, it's perfect for the fall. Salvatore Ferragamo, Acqua Essenziale Blue. One that somebody mentioned in the comments in the previous version of this video, the part 1, that I thought was great. I totally agreed with him because the ambery tones to this one does make it a great fall aquatic. We're talking about the newest release in the Acqua di Gio line, Profondo Parfum. Yeah, amber aquatic. Totally agree. You lose some of the green elements and the mineral elements from the original. You add this warm ambery smell while still being a saltwater aquatic. Still has that green mandarin type of citrus to it. It is that good. Yeah, I would call this very much a fall appropriate aquatic. Yeah, amber aquatic, as I've been calling it from the start. Great longevity, not an overwhelming projection. It's a less is more kind of fragrance, as most designer parfums tend to be. Pretty long lasting with good sillage, like they'll linger in the air because it's a denser cloud, but not really screaming off the skin beyond arm's reach early on. Not over the top strong, but very present, very smooth, very refined, especially for an aquatic. This is definitely smooth and refined. So we're talking about Acqua di Gio Profondo Parfum. One that's a very interesting fragrance, and I know some people don't like it and some people swear by it. This one can be a bit polarizing. It's from Xerjoff. We're talking 40 knots. 40 knots is aquatic, it's spicy, it's salty, it's woodsy. There's a lot of things going on here. And it makes for an overall unique experience because it's got so many different elements kind of just mishmashed together that maybe sound like it wouldn't work, but totally works. I think this is one of their best offerings, especially as far as something on the mass appealing side that's easier to like. Again, not everybody does because it is a little bit of a strange fragrance for what it is. I do classify it as a blue fragrance regardless of this bottle color. It's never a bottle color that'll make something fall into a blue category for me. Having elements such as an aquatic undertone, for example, that'll immediately get you into the blue category for sure. But it's got darker, not really darker, heavier elements, I guess I would say, with a nice woody backbone, a nice hefty dose of spice. Again, while still having a little bit of a saltiness to it. It's pretty damn good. Really good performer as well. Again, that's Xerjoff, 40 knots. Now, personally, I've already featured its Elixir flanker, talking about how excited I was to wear it for the fall. And somebody, more than one person actually mentioned this, that they were surprised. And yeah, this totally works in the fall as well. This can go in every season. So, of course, it works great for the fall also. It's Bad Boy Cobalt. You're damn right this works great in the fall. It's a sweet blue. It's synthetic and woodsy and musky. It's damn good. That beautiful, juicy, plum, sweet, fruity smell at the top. You get a little bit of Invictus Platinum meets a whole lot of Coach for Men in the dry down. I'm a huge fan of this fragrance. I mean, I already sprayed a fragrance on, but why not sniff this one too? Oh, God, that smells good out in the air. Now, with the Elixir, it's much sweeter, it's denser, it's heavier, it's centered around this truffle note. Much darker fragrance, much heavier, thicker fragrance. Cooler fall days, absolutely. Those warmer fall days, for those of you in the South, oh yeah, you can definitely rock this. Absolutely beautiful fragrance. Chemically synthetic, very unnatural smelling, so if that kind of stuff bothers you, maybe miss on this one, take a pass. But definitely get out and try this one anywhere that sells, any department stores that have Carolina Herrera fragrances, because you might end up falling in love with this one. Don't judge it based on doing this. Spray it on, do a full wearing, go on about your day, get around your woman, get your feedback that way. See what it's like to kind of live in that sillage. Because if you just sniff it up close, this is one of those fragrances that while I find quite enjoyable, I can see how it'd be off-putting for how chemically synthetic it is by sniffing up close to others. So great performance and a phenomenal blue, honestly. It's Carolina Herrera's Bad Boy Cobalt. One that the first time I smelled, I was a little underwhelmed. Then I started wearing it the following several days into the next 2 to 3 weeks, and it was like, yeah, they're on to something here with Chrome Parfum. Azzaro Chrome Parfum is definitely a better, cooler weather take on Chrome's DNA because it's rich in fir balsam. It's got this resinous, heavier green element with the metallic shower gel smell. Not overwhelming. It's not as much as Chrome and many of its other flankers like Azure, however you'd like to say it, its newest flanker. It has that profile, but much more warm, heavy, darker green and resinous. And it makes for a smoother, more well-rounded, cooler weather fragrance. It's actually really damn good. Don't knock this one before you try it, and one spray is not going to be enough to judge this one, unless you just happen to fall head over heels for it on the first sniff, which, I'm not saying there aren't those that will, but if you're anything like me, you'll go into it expecting one thing, get another, and be like, okay, it's good, but not really what I was thinking it should be or would be. And then you start spending some time with it, and boy, at least for me, the opinion changed rather quickly. I think this was a brilliant offering from them. Because now, if you want the chrome freshness but want some, more depth and body to the fragrance, you get it here. Lingering, long-lasting sillage and longevity. Not overwhelmingly strong like I was mentioning earlier with these designer parfums. Falls right in line with that, and it's gotten very affordable from discounters. And it's Azzaro Chrome Parfum. This next one is aquatic meets a whole, but it's freshwater meets oak moss. And it creates this fresh green, spicy, watery smell that is almost a dead ringer for technically my favorite fragrance of all time, which is Tommy by Tommy Hilfiger. We're talking Montale's Fougeres Marine. Fougeres Marine is incredible. Any of you that like Tommy by Tommy Hilfiger, that makes this an absolute must try. And I get asked all the time the difference on the pins going through the head of the atomizer versus on the neck. So this is a tester. When the pin goes through the head, it's a tester. That way you don't have to pull it in and out. It literally won't come off. It's part of the head. It's in there. So full box presentation has the removable pin from the collar. Testers have it's going through the heads because it's just going to sit on the counter and you just pick it up and spray. You don't have to worry about pulling the pin. They don't have to worry about losing the pins. That's what that is. So again, this is Oak Moss Dominant Chypre with a heavy fresh water accord, like a lot of this fresh water accord that makes what would be an overall heavy, earthy, spicy green and freshens it up ever so greatly to give it that tie-in to Tommy by Tommy Hilfiger. If you're super familiar with Tommy, then when you spray this, you can be like, oh, I need that. That's how I felt. It's not spot on, but I think this is as close as you can get. And it's a phenomenal performer on top of that. While a Chypre at its core, the freshwater aquatic nature of this, that watery feel, does borrow it to being a cross between blue and green. So I think it could really fall into both of those categories. There's blue elements, there's heavily toned green elements, and a lot of blues do feature a lot of green notes. And I think that's what makes this one fall right on in line with the rest of them. Give this one a shot if you're a fan of Tommy by Tommy Hilfiger. It's Montale's Fougeres Marine. Last but not least, it's a goated blue. You know, a lot of people were surprised this was left off, and I guess there's an argument for it being in every blue fragrance video, just like Acqua Essenziale Blue. It's just I like to switch it up sometimes, because Dylan Blue, it's an icon. Versace Dylan Blue is absolutely a blue fragrance icon, highly complimented, great performance. If you think it's weak, your nose is going blind, your receptors are fatiguing to it quickly. Because it happens to me. Within an hour, I'll lose sensitivity to the profile. And in the past, I've gotten compliments 7-8 hours in without having refreshed, thinking it was long gone by that point. So, rich citrus, a whole lot of grapefruit, smoky notes, woody notes, ambery, aquatic. It's a little spicy. There's a lot of elements here. It is on the synthetic side of things, but out in the air is the magic of this fragrance. It's very alluring, very charismatic. It will pull people in. This is highly attractive stuff. Again, there's no guarantees with a compliment, but fragrances like Versace Dylan Blue, some of you hear me say this about certain fragrances, and it rings very true with this one. Probability, very, very high on getting a compliment with this one. Again, no guarantees, just the likelihood is higher with this one than most, at least in my experience and things I've seen with feedback from a lot of people over the years on the internet. Seems to work like gangbusters if you're looking for a compliment. And it's a heavier blue, so it works just as well in the fall and winter as it does in the spring and summer. Again, this is Versace's Dylan Blue. Well, that was 7 more. Part 2 of Fall Blues, just for you guys. I enjoyed doing it. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications before you leave. I'll catch you on the next one. Y'all have a good one.